Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts and this is True Divine, where I'm giving you your daily dose of spiritual guidance. Take what resonates. It is general. I combine the tarot work that I do and the energy work that I do to bring you a narrative to help guide your day to your highest potentials, where you recognize the energies within you, around you and within others, and have maybe some foresight as to how to act for your greatness, for your best. So we've got for the 15th of April 2021, is that right? Yeah, it's right. We've got on the bottom of the deck, we've got the 9 of Pentacles. So you can see here, there's abundance here. This lady is adorned. There's beauty here. There's finding your abundance, finding your you're feeling good energy, and to be honest, a lot of us are struggling to find that. Bodies are worn out, mentalities are worn out, emotions worn out, and so it's difficult sometimes to remember the things that we used to wear, the way that we used to wear the hair or the clothes, or the things that make you get into that space of expectancy of abundance. And it shouldn't be belittled. We've gone from one extreme to another, where we have such fakery online on social media, where people look so different because they are not in any acceptance of themselves, and they don't expect others to accept them the way that they are, the beauty that they have. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have people totally backing away, becoming recluse and forgetting their identity, forgetting the certain aspects that made them who they are, the individuals that they are. So it's important today to find that abundance and make some effort, not for anybody else but yourself, and to get into that space of expectancy of abundance, and start to take seriously what you are willing to claim in this lifetime, what you're willing to fight for and claim in this reality, going onto the collective stage. One thing that the so-called powers that be, the elite, are happy to do is to build a space where they can expect, and they've gotten so good at it now that it's very difficult for us to feel like we can get into those spaces. But at some point they made a turn. At some point the systems that we're under right now, the hijack that we're still living under right now, fought for it, albeit in a very negative way, but they fought for it. They fought for the land, they fought for the control over the people. So it's where we find that fight today, and we find it as individuals first, with the small things, the little things, doing our hair, even if we've got nowhere to go, getting certain clothes and getting certain it's ritual, being able to put certain scents on, even if we've got nowhere to go, just to enter into that physical space where the rest of you, all the other aspects of you, can start catching up to and resonating with, and create the manifestation energies that are needed today to find that abundance and find the fight within that is willing to fight for that abundance. It's the number 9. It's being able to, so it sounds very simplistic what I'm saying, the clothes, the hair, the makeup, whatever it is, the scents. But at the same time, it isn't. It's in these small, simple things that we go into that field of possibilities, the 9, the perfection, the ability to pull all the other aspects of self up into a space of abundance, of expectancy, of great manifestation. And so this is where you need to remember yourself today, and remind yourself of you and what you are, and what your identity really is within this reality, within this realm. And so on the bottom of the other deck, again, it's the number 2, the 2 of Pentacles. So this speaks of this juggling cannot persist. That we are all juggling in our individual lives. Certain things that need to either be dropped, or certain things that really need to be focused on and fought for and manifested into, an effort put into it. But we are still in this space of juggling between two worlds, between two aspects of our material life, of our material existence. We're still sort of juggling and waiting for certain outside factors to come in and change the situation or fix the situation. And I feel a lot of us are doing that in our individual lives too, of needing to make decisions excuse me excuse me, to concentrate and enter into with full intent and full force into what drives you, what will create this Nine of Pentacles, what will create this abundance and sustainability, and also happiness within this realm. A lot of us are forgetting in our individual lives to fight for our happiness, and how important and how blissful that is to feel happiness. And so we continue to juggle. And this is where the brain fog is set in a bit, and you can't see the wood for the trees, in that it's you get into a space, and this has been done deliberately from the collective stage, in that they deliberately give us a lot to juggle. And right now we are being bombarded with a lot of different material aspects to juggle within their great reset. And so this is where we need to stop being distracted, stop taking on more plates to spin, more pentacles to juggle, and really focus with full intent and full force on how we want our lives to look, and then looking as to, okay, so what parts do we need to fight for to create how the picture, the image of what we want our lives to look like. So on the starting card, we've got the Temperance card. This is a major arcana, and you can see that she's transmuting the energy over the heart chakra area. It's a Aquarius affiliated card, air card. This is where you're using thought to impregnate the waters. It's the water bearer, and create imbalance. So even in the most negative situations, you're going through challenges, you're going through boot camp almost of energies to transmute, energies that aren't for the best of you or the best of the people around you. And this is very apparent on the collective stage. And we're seeing people who haven't got this level of ascension, they haven't got this level of wisdom to do this. So today it feels like immature emotions are taking over a lot on the collective stage, where people are fighting like children against the system right now, and causing damage to others like a child would. A child starts having a tantrum, doesn't know how to transmute the energy, you know, they throw things at will, and whether it hits somebody or hits an ornament on the way, so be it. And that's what we sort of see a lot of today on the collective stage. I can see lots of different headlines popping up here, there, and everywhere, because I've got the Page of Cups, again, emotions, water, to clarify the Temperance card. So this is where there's an immaturity, there's a lack of wisdom of how to speak to your emotional body, the emotional aspect of you, and we're seeing that in the many, for sure, in particular in America, in particular in the UK, and I keep feeling something about Australia today too. We're seeing that children are being deeply affected by the lack of wisdom in the adults around them, within the school system, within family structures, of actually showing by example that you can take something negative, you can wring out all of the lessons within it, you can then impregnate that water with words, with thought, and create something that is nourishing to the body, that then drives you forward in balance, but with force. Children aren't learning this, and for a long time now they've been in boot camp also of how not to transmute energies. So it feels like a lot of students especially are going to be kicking off today, and again, there is good reason. There is a good reason that they feel like they want to be heard, but going about it within these systems the way that it feels like it's going to be gone about is dangerous, and is hurting more the people around them rather than the powers that be that they are really truly angry at. The same way as a child who hasn't learned how to transmute emotions that are strong, often takes it out on the parent. And so this is where we see that, and it's not that the child has anything against the parent really, but it's the only place and way that they feel safe going against, to try and empty themselves of the frustration, the anger that they're feeling, rather than having the education to transmute. So today would be a super successful day in, if you have children, grandchildren, in showing the examples of how you breathe through emotions. Have some role play, do some role play where you get angry, where you get sad, where you get super happy, super excited, and teach them with that role play how to breathe through that, how to speak to their emotional body, how they actually physically go into the process of transmuting that energy, and how they get nourishment from it rather than in trouble. Give them power, make it sound, because it is a superpower. Make it sound like that. It is that. It's a superpower to be able to stay balanced and transmute energies, no matter how negative or no matter how positive or exciting they are, and be able to ground yourself enough in self-knowing, in wisdom, to be able to then go forward in any direction, protected and in balance, in wholeness, and actually creating greatness from that space. So there's things that we need to really start getting serious about dealing with for our children. In one, leading by example, transmuting energies ourselves. It feels like a very tense state in a lot of households. So speaking that out, being honest, allow them to learn by example. But children are often looking at the energies, picking up on them more than most adults, and then they have to calculate, the risk of a good day or a bad day. And it just feels like there's a lot of children watching and waiting and wanting of the example to be shown, of how you be honest and say, damn, I'm having a real stressful day today. So what do you think I can do? What do you think I can do, kids, to get this out without getting myself into trouble or making myself feel bad? What do I do? What would you do? I can hear some kids now saying, jump on the bed. Damn good idea. Move the body, get it flowing, get it moving, get it pushing. Don't let things stagnate and turn into poison. Great idea, kids. And it's just a role play example, and I can see it and hear it happening now. And you'll look at, for those that resonate with this, you're going to look at that child smile, and that is going to feed you for the rest of the day, because it's, again, that remembrance of that Nine of Pentacles, of the blisses in life and the powers in doing the small things like that actually are the big things, the foundational building blocks of the family unit, of the children that are growing up into the next generation. There's a lot that's gone right with humans, there's a lot of fabulous humans here in this realm, and there's a lot that's gone wrong. There's a lot that we need to look back to and say, when did we stop learning this? When did we stop learning that? When did that wisdom start to lack? And this is where we take our power back within our own homes, which will then spread out throughout. There are many people doing great work right now to take the power back. And it's important that we hold up our own end of our own bargains with the children that we've brought into this world. And if you have no children at all, still, there are people in the past that made great decisions that saved us from fates worse than death. And there are people who sat back and did nothing. And there are people who fell for the bullshit, fell for the distractions, gave away power. And it's for all of us to be accountable right now, in the now, with foresight, knowing that we are building the future, but it's not a future that necessarily we have to face for very long as adults. It's the future that we are leaving behind for the now children, then soon to be adults. So this is an important message of leading by example today. We've got the King of Swords as the next card. This is where we're asking ourselves to think, be in wisdom, be in intellect, be ready to strategize how you go about life, how you go about making certain decisions, not being afraid to make the cutthroat decisions for the greatness of you and for the greatness of those around you, particularly the children. It feels like children are crying out today for authority figures. So let's be those authority figures with gusto. Let's not be there. Let's not be present and allow them to have to seek it elsewhere, either within affiliations, gang type affiliations, or whether that is falling for the bullshit that the so-called powers that be are feeding through the social medias, feeding through the movies, feeding through the Hollywood, the singers. Let's fill that space. Let's not make them go looking elsewhere. So this is part of taking that authority, strategizing of how we do that, in particular for the children. Also for business, really getting serious about right now. There is a very, very small window that keeps closing more and more each day for smaller businesses to strategize, think very, very clearly and strategically and logically as to how to go forward and be willing to make a stand on your throne as the king, regarding whether you're male or female, regarding protecting your own, regarding protecting your right to build successful ways of being sustainable within this realm, for your right to actually think for yourself. We really do need to get ahead and be speaking out more and more about the freedom of speech, about the freedom of thought more than anything now. We've actually, the so-called powers that be are way ahead of, we're hearing just like the technology they have that we don't have, the knowledge that they've hidden that from us, from the many that they don't have. We're hearing now freedom of speech. I'm already way on the fact that they are way ahead now. They've implanted that seed. We're allowing it to grow by backing down and not making a noise about it. They are onto freedom of thought, very definitely. So there's going to be some things today, I feel, for those with eyes to see, that crop up that you realize, damn, that is a really big step into the direction of thought policing to another level, to another degree. So look out for that and make noise about that, and don't be afraid to put it clearly to MPs, to Parliament, whoever you can, that you do not consent to the voices in your head. You do not consent to people limiting how you think. You don't consent to the technologies within the hands that they are in, with the powers that those hands have, to the technologies and the frequencies that allow this to happen, to allow the direct voices in people's heads. I was speaking about that in the comments of yesterday's video a little bit, and one of the brothers there is absolutely right in that the looking at the shootings, looking at certain actions people have taken, it absolutely has been and is being manipulated through frequency. It is my feeling that these people that are rioting right now are being given good reasons to make a noise and make a stand, but the frequencies are so distorted that they're receiving within that, and the build-up of everything that everyone's been through over these last nearly 2 years has the ability then to have people act in the way that we see them acting right now, particularly in America with riots. It feels very much so that that's happening in the UK. Certain rollouts of certain frequencies. We see that I think we're going to start seeing the effects of those in people losing their shit today, to a certain extent. Again, this immature, reactionary, but we're fast entering into a space of technology that is being used more and more and more rapidly, of entering into the consciousness, entering into the hidden, the private space. So we really do need to make a noise about this now and bring it to light now that we know what they're doing. We don't care if it sounds crazy. We know what they're doing. We know that they are manipulating people's reactions through frequency. So it's really important that we take the authority basically to protect the consciousness of us, to protect the privacy of that, the individualism of that. Yes, we are one body as a collective, but that again is very deliberately misleading in that, but we are individual cells and have individuality, and that is our story, that is our saga, and so that is of utmost importance. And that is how, supposedly, if that was in balance, we wouldn't have people in such small numbers allowed to be in control of such diverse and different individuals. And so we've lost that individuality, and we need to protect it for what we still have of it, and claim it back also for what we've already lost. So the King of Pentacles clarifies the King of Swords. I've pretty much said a lot about that. So we've got two kings here. This is about action, divine masculine energy taking action. So taking action in thought and strategizing and then putting it into action in reality. No longer can we just sit back and expect that our rights would be protected. Going back to the kings of old, they wouldn't have stood for such things. Now, the problem is that we have many kings, if you like, around the world right now, very much strategizing of how they protect their own, but not just that, how they enter into certain alliances and where they will fit into the hierarchy of this one world alliance deal. All of them trying to get on top. And so we see that actually within the Middle Eastern area in particular, a lot of these kings are working together and being very active on that front, and very deliberately, very, very deliberately, the likes of America, the likes of the UK, the likes of Canada have been left with the dimwits who are asleep at the wheel. You know, they're doing what they're told to do, and they are asleep at the wheel as far as protecting the lands, protecting the peoples. And so we need to be this kingly energy no more. The kings of old would not have stood for these dimwits. They wouldn't have stood for and watched it happen, and let their fingers loose and just let go of what they've worked so hard to build up upon. And so this is where we do need to take this divine masculine, beautiful divine masculine energy and take in action. And it doesn't always look too pretty. I'm going to go into another video about it because I think it's a video in itself, but I mentioned it was psychic a while ago now. Please go to the border. In America, there's still this reliance. There's still, we're all around the world so indoctrinated that we have to be allowed to do something. And I feel the people, the men, the women of old in America would already be at the border, because right now you're relying on the construct, on the system, and the people there that work for the system. Now, yes, there's some very good people there within that system, but the system itself and many of the people within it also are corrupt. And so expecting your borders, your entries to be protected, and particularly the children, via these systems, I really feel that, I'm going to go into a little bit on it, I really feel that the better people that work within that aspect of the system, I don't know the names of them all, so I won't even insult by trying, but you know, the people who work around the border areas, the security, I suppose, the good ones have been moved, fired, or relocated. There's a reason that nobody is allowed to see there, that there is such corruption there that I don't feel even the majority of them are coming from Mexico. I don't feel even the majority of the children who aren't allowed to talk to anybody outside of that small bubble. I don't even feel, I feel those children are, it's a great way to hide children who had previously gone missing in plain sight. Now, I'm not saying that's in its entirety. I'm just saying using what is happening right now for all they can. And so they use the situations that they implode on us for all that they can. And one of the layers I think is very convenient, that a lot of children can either disappear or be re-entered into the system and used further when they've already been used somewhere hidden. And so I hope that makes sense. It feels like there's a few of them are being radicalized, not by enemies, but by people within that aspect of the system. And I can see huge problems from that. I can see huge implications for adults' morals and adults' wellness, adult psyche. It's very different when you have a child holding a gun, particularly a radicalized child holding a gun. It is a very different decision, and it's a very different thing to even live with, to be the hero in that situation, to save many others the situation that a person has to make. Now, this has been a vision of mine, and I bind it up, and I speak out the protection over that child, that it cannot and will not happen. But it's something that keeps coming up in my mind, so I have to speak it out. In the previous readings, I said, go to the border, make your presence known, make it difficult for them to hide. And I realize the rules are in place that nobody, even in many official capacities, are allowed at the border. There's a reason that the president and vice president aren't going there. They need to create that distance, because there's very much more, it sounds nefarious on the face of it as it is, but there is much more nefarious things going on right now at those borders, and people are allowing it because they're not going to witness it. It's very, when I brought out the blue and the yellow magic video the other day, it's great to have a tell, which is why I watch them so closely. I wait and watch for their tells, because if I know that there's certain black, blue, yellow magic being done, I can actually meet that on equal terms, force with force. And like we discussed in the comments yesterday, I can either help neutralize it or great, turn it around, like the temperance card, transmute it and throw it right back in a very different way. But to have a witness to something also is super powerful, and to have many witnesses, making it very difficult for secretive things to be going on, makes it awkward for them. And as the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords, strategies need to be made like that today, or the ramifications I can see are going to be huge, of going to strategic places to bear witness, to take action, to take notes, have cameras just held up there, hold visuals just to hold cameras up at certain spots to make it difficult. Let's make it real difficult. In the UK, as far as businesses are concerned, I feel like there's going to be hints today of, oh, we're going to have to close again. Damn it. Third wave. Don't say no. You won't survive the next closure. If you do, say no and stay open. And don't stay open trying to jump through every single flaming hoop that they give you, because they're going to deliberately give hoops that are very difficult for you to jump through. And so keep an eye on that, make a noise about that, and take a damn stand about that. We've got the Four of Wands as the next card, and this is about the home. This is about balance within the home, creating a happy home, creating a home that is worth being in, creating a home with bliss within it and balance within it, with passion and love, compassion, authority. But there's a fight for it. There's a fight for that home. And we're seeing that in the world today, where we've got these idiots vying for hierarchy within their little pyramid scheme that they've got going on right now, their plans of how they will rule the world, and they're psychopaths. And so we've got the Seven of Pentacles in reverse to clarify the Four of Wands. So this speaks of where do we go from here? We've got to protect a home and ours. How do we do that? Right, okay, we do this way, we need to do this, we need to do that. You know, building your garden to standing at the border, you know, from the seed to the line, from the seed to the sky. So this is where, otherwise, what are we building here? What are we leaving behind? This is the question with these two cards. There's a lot about the waters right now. There is so much activity within the waters. Russia trying to stay as quiet as possible, even though it's getting poked and poked and poked, not for great reasons, but because, like everything else, it's being very strategic, and there are very clever moves there, I feel, from Russia, that is actually making note of what's happening with the weather, and knowing that because of old knowledge that they have, how much of a strategic place the snow, where the greatest bit of snow, I keep forgetting the name of it, I get embarrassed about my geography. I see them in visions and I think, so where's that? Where the polar bears are. Where the polar bears are, they are there waiting. They're there waiting. I feel that that's going to become, and I know people who know weather and know climate change and are much more intelligent than me are going to scream. I just know to go by my visions, and I see trees growing there again. I do, and they know that, and it being a very productive place to be. A lot going on about them fighting over and taking authority while we're all distracted of sea routes. And this will be, it feels like they're going, I know that they use the sea a lot for cargo and things like that already, but this is like different. I can see in the future, I can see what they have already, a very different transportation through water, using water as fuel. And I know people who, again, are intelligent in these fields will say, oh, no, well, I'm telling you, I saw it in a vision, I'm telling you, they know how to do it. And so the sea is where we need to get ahead of. Again, also, we need to be fighting for the right to fish if we want to fish, and to not allow dominion over the sea. It feels like literally it's like them entering into another realm almost, because it's a very big skill set to be able to navigate the seas. It's a dangerous thing, and to have the kind of money that they've got to build this kind of technology that I'm seeing, that literally uses water as fuel, no fuel needed, and it to be super fast. It feels almost like the fight for the railways of the seas. And that's what's going on right now in the background while everyone's distracted. They've got certain technologies that they know, but everybody wanting to work with China, every one of them wanting to work with the Chinese government, regardless of how cruel they are to the people, regardless of what they're doing experimentation-wise for consciousness and stuff. Okay, I'm going too long, but they're basically they're all saying, oh, you know, bad China this, bad China that, when all of the deepest parts of each state are working with, I think right now, the least amount actually is Russia right now. It keeps changing. It's like a chessboard in vision. It really is. But there's this, it feels like there is a war over who is going to predominantly own the railway of the seas. And this thing almost looks like a railway on water. It's crazy. And again, fabulous technology, life-saving technology to get things across fast, environment friendly technology to do things without harming the elements around them. But at the same time, in the hands that they're in, it's no good. We need to be the kings wherever we can be, taking the action, having the divine masculine energy within, but also calling upon our beautiful, awesome men and asking, requesting, demanding that the lion wake up, and not act out of anger, going back to that temperance card, acting out of a place of balance and wisdom and knowing when time is time. You know, seeking out the men that, like my granddad, you know, never ever a cruel word spoken out of anger, not once. I knew him 78 years. Never a cruel word, and always acting out of balance and thought, but always acting, always taking action. And it doesn't feel like there is, and this is a concerted effort as well, of course, to take away the masculinity. I need to do some videos on that. It's disgusting what they're doing to our little boys. And I work real hard as a single mother to instill and encourage the masculinity and understand the masculinity as best I can for my boys, because it is something that is lacking, and it has been deliberately so. So finding your inner Harry Roberts would be a great thing today, and it's time. We can't keep waiting. The window is closing, and so there's greatness to be found today. So I appreciate you all listening. A bit welled up there thinking about my granddad. There's a void, isn't there, of and I know, and I've had the pleasure to meet particularly American men. I've been meeting my American family over this last year, and you know, I've got the pleasure to meet people who remind me, Wayne, many others, David, you know, of men who are willing to take action and have greatness in their hearts. But I mean, for the generations that we're seeing now in the 30s, in the 20s, and younger, it is a worry, and it is a void and a space that is rapidly getting filled up by radicalized soldiers. And even if there are soldiers, I'm telling you, the way that they're training now and the rules that they're putting in now for the soldiers, these soldiers are indoctrinated, controlled, and radicalized. They're not the same soldiers that have left service. They're not the same soldiers. I mean, in predominant numbers. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but in predominant numbers, they're not the same soldiers as my granddad, as many of your granddads. And we need to watch that, because we're gonna feel the force of that pretty soon. So that's the reading for the 15th. Whew. Breathe. 15th of April 2021. I love and appreciate you all. Let's do this shit. Let's shake these people down, and take authority back in our lives and seek our greatness. I love and appreciate you all. Mwah.